Welcome to True Crime, Authors and Extraordinary People, the podcast where we bring two passions together. The show that gives new meaning to the old adage, truth is stranger than fiction, and reminding you that there is an extraordinary person in all of us. Here is your host, David McClam.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the episode of True Crime, Authors and Extraordinary People. Of course, I'm your man, David McClam. If you guys haven't already, make sure you follow us on all of our social media. One link to a link tree gets you every place you need to go pertaining to the show. And as always, if you or you know someone who thinks about hurting themselves or someone else, please leave this episode and call 988. It is a suicide prevention hotline. You can text them or call them. They can get you the help that you need. If no one else has told you this today, let me be the first to tell you that I do care and I do need you to be here. And also, now that we are back on YouTube, if you're listening to this or watching this, I should say on YouTube, please remember to comment and subscribe. It'll help us in the algorithm to get these stories out. And one last thing I remind you guys is remember that we are coming to the end of the third season. That will be on the 3rd of December. Some of the things that I was going to talk to you about implementing, I've already started. We did start going back on YouTube, and we are ramping up our social media presence again. So if you do follow me on social media or you have but unsubscribed, resubscribe back. We're going to be posting some shorts there of interviews that's coming up or episodes. You know what you're getting into and all that good stuff. So we are looking at bringing back social media and keeping up with it this time so that you guys know what is going on with the show. All right, so today's episode, to some it may be a crime, to some it's not. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it and what I'm doing in that space. And we're going to talk about AI, artificial intelligence in the music business. The reason I'm bringing this up is because it has been a large outcry about AI now. And I think that there's some information that's getting passed around about artificial intelligence, especially in the music business, that is not true. Some say this is criminal. And you know me on this platform, I cover everything. And this is one of them. I think I can speak about this in this space because I'm going to tell you a project that I'm doing that is partially AI and then where I stand. So let's get into it. The one thing I'm going to tell you about the music business is the music business is very hypocritical. They only start crying about things when they feel that it affects them directly, even if these things have been around for a long period of time. The other thing is I'm getting tired of hearing is people saying that people that using AI to generate songs or whatever are untalented or they don't play an instrument or they couldn't do this themselves. Now, I will give you this. There are some people, we'll talk about one of them specifically today, that can't sing. Admit it could not sing. No, can't do this, but can write. But if you listen to all of the people I've heard on YouTube, just go on YouTube and look up AI music and people's going off. There's this one cat I listen to who's all over the place. You know, he sits in front of his keyboard and he's going off about how music is dead and people should be shot because they shouldn't be listening to this and AI is horrible and everyone that's using AI is untalented and they couldn't play this if they saved them. Well, I am a 49-year professional musician. I have played on albums. I have played in bands. I am a drummer. I'm also a singer. I have done this in this space. Certainly not untalented. Certainly could play the drums. Certainly can carry a tune. Now, I may not be as good as I was back in the day, but I have records out there with bands that I was in back when I was 19, 20 and plus that I'm singing on. Okay, so I certainly can do some of these things that the AI artist is doing. Yes, there is one we'll talk about here in a minute. That minute could not sing a lick. But again, like I'm saying, the music business is hypocritical. Folks, AI has been around for a long period of time. It has been around so long that they've camouflaged it into names that you just don't know. You just think it's something new. Let me give you one. Who out there listening within the sound of my voice uses an iPhone? Remember, I worked for Apple for 8 years. I know some of the backdoor stuff that maybe you guys don't know. Let me give you Apple's biggest trick about artificial intelligence, and they were using it the whole time. They just gave it a different name. How many of you always heard them say, and with this brand new neural engine in Apple speak was artificial intelligence. Right at my last year here this year before I left, they had ramped this up. Now, as long as I've worked for Apple, Apple is the company that don't give away nothing, right? So if you have Google, Microsoft, when you walk in as a rep, they got buttons and pens and they give you gift cards at Christmas time to go get a coffee. Not Apple. Matter of fact, there was rules written against it that could have cost me my job if I did it. There is a compliance that we have to take every year that narrows that down. Why we can't give out gifts. Don't give out gifts to these people. And there's even a hard policy on giving gifts to those that work within Apple. They don't give away anything. But when Apple Intelligence finally broke this year and they told you it was called Apple Intelligence and they're giving you this suite of stuff that is around nothing but AI, well, they gave stuff away. They sent me a whole multitude of t-shirts to give away to different individuals within my either Best Buys or whatever carrier stores I was going to that day. I have a couple of AI shirts that says Apple Intelligence. Is probably all about it because AI is so big that now Apple decides, hey, it's so big to us, we'll give things away. Neural Engine. AI has been in your phones for about the last 5 years. If you use a Google phone, everything you're doing there. AI, when they say that they're going to digitally zoom out on your camera, they're using AI. Their newest phones from Google is using AI to get you that photo zoom that you want on there. When you look at Apple phones, when you get to remove things from a photo, that is all AI. AI is so deep in your Apple phone right now that depending on what model you have, I have the 15. So if you go and click on that button at the very top on the left, it's going to open up something called Photo AI, which you take a photo and AI will tell you what that is. And you can actually go into notes right now and you can click a button at the bottom and you can write in like you're writing to ChatGPT and you can tell it to make you a story of Kobe Bryant playing basketball when he was 19. AI will make you that story. And if you've missed it, Apple has actually signed into a deal with ChatGPT. So if you are running ChatGPT at all, like you have an account, you can sign in through the settings of your iPhone so that it uses your ChatGPT account. However, if you don't have an account or don't want one, no problem. Because with your iPhones, you can use ChatGPT for free. The only difference is you only get so many queries on their current model, and then it will pipe you down to the model below it, but you can use it for free. AI has been around this whole time. AI in music has been around for a long period of time. And I'm about to expose some people right now, since people's running around talking about some, oh my gosh, AI artists is trash and get rid of them and they're going to take over the world. I'm going to introduce you to some artists that is using AI right now, and you may have never, ever knew it. Before I tell you who these guys are, let me tell you about the early music business. See, borrowing from other musicians has been a thing for years. What do you think we get sampling from? Go out there and listen to several songs, you'll hear that there's some sampling. Human Nature has been sampled before. I think SWV did a version that sampled Michael Jackson. Will Smith has sampled a number of songs. Rappers sample songs all the time. You'll get in the car and you'll hear a song and you'll be like, isn't that Broken Wings? Because it's been sampled. Now, that was AI back in the day. Now, I can understand the reason why they're saying, because they're swearing that people's not getting paid adequately. Okay, so yes, when you sample these songs, people do get paid. You just have to go to the record company or whoever holds the right to that song. Okay, so understand that a lot of your artists don't hold the rights to their own music. You have to go to whatever company that holds that right to get that permission to record that song as a cover, and then they sample it. So borrowing from musicians is nothing new. Prince, why he wrote Slave, because he felt he's on the contract. If you look at the end of Prince's life and anything he did after the Warner Brothers thing, Prince holds the rights to all his music, which is why they're still releasing it right now. Very important key. That's why he didn't get caught up into that stuff. But so now that everybody's sampling everything, running around borrowing from artists, now we want to jump on AI musicians. Now, there's the big reason why people's jumping on there, because the fact that AI musicians are, I guess, making charge holding presidents getting money deals, right? Even though there ain't been that many of them that's got money deals yet, but it's happening. I think AI is causing musicians to step up their game, because it is true that within AI, you can make a perfect album. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that is AI, because I don't. And I'm going to break down for you what I don't or what I do agree with. But AI is here to stay, and we need to figure out how we're going to deal with that as musicians and in the company. Let me show you why I say that the record company is hypocritical. I'm not going to mention his name, but like I said, there's a guy I listen to a lot on YouTube who's a musician who is just damning everybody that is using AI. Yet he admits that he's using ChatGPT. Now, let me show you how hypocritical it is. I forget the artist. One girl who's an artist came and said she can never understand AI and she ain't gonna ever be behind it and it's taken away from artists and it's gonna kill the genre. If you do a quick look, you're gonna find out right now that there's artists that is using AI in their music. You just may never know it, but they're using it. Now, if you look up any artist that has been in AI, the first one that's going to pop up is going to be a girl named Zanaya Monet. Zanaya Monet is the one that's coming up under big scrutiny right now because of the fact that Zanaya is an AI artist. It's not a real person who's singing this song. However, the girl that is behind Zanaya Monet has come out, has done an expose, and has talked about why she wanted to come out and bring out why she's doing Zanaya Monet. Now, I'm going to call her Nikki, but her name is Talisha Nikki Jones. Talisha Nikki Jones is the one that's behind Zanaya Monet. Now, Zanaya Monet, Nikki, is the one I was referring to that says she cannot sing. So she cannot sing, she cannot play an instrument, but she can write. So every lyric that you heard or hear from Zanaya Monet, it was written by Nikki. It wasn't AI generated at all. Now, the music and the voice is AI generated. Here's the hypocritical part of that. Everybody's coming out against her because of what she's now done. Now, if you ever go and just listen to Zanaya Monet's album, which is out right now, it's the only one she had. She, for a first-time artist, dropped a double album, the first album that she drops, okay? I've listened to the album. If no one would have ever told me this, I would have never been able to tell that Zanaya Monet was an AI artist. The point is, you guys wouldn't be able to tell that either. Now, here's what's gotten the music industry in a ruffle over Zanaya Monet. Zanaya Monet is on the top of charts, Billboard charts, which includes adult R&B, airplay chart, the hot gospel songs chart, and the R&B digital song sales chart. She also debuted on the hot R&B songs chart and the emerging artists chart. She is the first AI artist to ever debut on a Billboard radio airplay chart with a track. So this is where the uproar is coming from. This is what I heard. She shouldn't be up there. What did she do? Okay, in traditional sense, because I think it was Kesha. I don't remember who it was, but whoever the artist was saying, you know, she didn't sleep on grounds and she didn't go through blood, sweat, and tears, and she didn't do any of this stuff to become an artist. Let's look at what music is. There's a lot of people, yes, that did exactly what she said, but now there's a lot of people that did not. Justin Bieber didn't. Justin Bieber just was releasing songs on YouTube, got discovered by Usher, and got a signed deal. Back in the day, Tevin Campbell didn't sleep on the sidewalk or he didn't starve. Tevin Campbell was discovered by Quincy Jones when he went to the corner to sing to make money, I believe to get his father a Father's Day gift. They didn't sweat blood, sweat, and tears to do it. Now, I give them this, they were singers, they could sing, but her point is that Zanaya Monet didn't go through all these hardships. I just gave you two artists that didn't go through any hardships either. Now, I will come back to say this about Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber went through hardships later on because he got mixed up in all the whole Diddy thing. I will give him that. But to get started, he did not. The Velvet Sundown. Nobody wanted to talk about them. It seems like Zanaya Monet got the brunt of all of this backlash when it came to AR artists, and I don't think that's fair. The Velvet Sundown is another group. No one knew who the Velvet Sundown was. I didn't until this guy, hey, Velvet Sundown's getting all these likes and blah. Velvet Sundown gets 222,883 listens a month. Zanaya Monet, 1.3 million. Now, here's where I disagree with Zanaya Monet versus the Velvet Sundown. When I went to check out Zanaya Monet's profiles, and this is what I do believe needs to happen, it should have said somewhere at the top, without me digging for it, that Zanaya Monet was indeed a AI artist, that the woman that you hear singing was generated by a computer. That definitely should say that. However, when you go to her Spotify profile, there is no mention of that at all. Matter of fact, when you click on her about section, the only thing it does is it just tells you where she's getting the most listeners from. However, I had to go dig through her Apple Music profile, and it still didn't tell me right away that she was. It goes off about how soulful she is and the songs she's writing about, and I had to go all the way down to the middle before it told me that Zanaya Monet was indeed an AI artist. Now, here's why Zanaya is connecting with a lot of people. The music she's writing is very personal, and this is what people saying, well, you don't get no feeling from an AI. AI is flat. If somebody's just generating a prompt to say, give me this, they're right. And I'm going to talk to you about prompts coming towards the end of how these things is happening. However, Zanaya Monet's album is not flat. There's runs and there's emotion and there's feelings. And if you listen to the songs that she's writing, that she wrote from her own personal diary, if you don't feel something, there's a problem. And that's how come she's on these charts. It really has nothing to do with the fact that Zanaya Monet is an AI artist. I think if anybody came out writing the songs that she was writing, they would make the charts too. But that's what it's all coming from. It's because of the lyrics of the songs. I mean, some of the songs says, how was I supposed to know? I think that was about her dad. But the one that really kills me is she has one called Miscarriage Blues. It's all about how she had a miscarriage. I mean, if you listen to all of her songs, Let Go, Let God, I Ask for So Little, The Strong Don't Get a Break, This Ain't No Tryout, all of these songs are very personal songs. And my daughter says this is a sad album. Now, before she even knew about Zanaya Monet, I was playing her in the car and I said, hey, does this sound like an AI artist to you? And she's like, no. I'm like, what if I told you that she wasn't real? My daughter kind of froze. There's another one that I listened to, Tears of a Black Father, by a guy named JT Hustles. Now, I discovered him because the guy behind JT Hustles, who's also AI, did a YouTube video on how to use Suno and why he was doing it. This, I think he said, is his fourth album that he's doing AI-wise. Now, you listen to Tears of a Black Father, which is about any man, really, it could be any man that is going through the pressures that we all go through as a man and a father. But he was talking specifically on the Black father end, right? So he was bringing up things that are trends in Black fatherhood, you know, not just loss of job, but absentee fathers. I mean, he covered an affair. I mean, the whole nine. But if I would have discovered Tears of a Black Father by JT Hustles without me even seeing this guy's video, I would have thought JT was a real person. The point I'm trying to make to you is you don't know if you listen to AI or not. Let me give you another one. Now, I think I told you that there's some artists who indeed uses AI in their stuff. Zanaya Monet, of course, is the first one that will pop up because she is 100% AI. Except for the lyrics and the feel of the music. And I'll explain a little bit about that later on. But she is the one that's catching all the flame because of the fact that she is the one AI artist that's on the top. Zanaya Monet has also been signed to a $3 million record deal. She is one of two. Now, I don't remember the other guy, but there's another guy that got a deal. I don't think it was as high as hers, but Zanaya Monet has been signed to a $3 million record deal. I will tell you what I think the highs and the lows is about that going forward. But if you look at some of the other ones, let me just give you artists that you guys would actually know, because there's a lot of artists on this list. So what if I was to tell you that David Guetta, he used AI to create a track that sounds like an Eminem style song, which he later sampled in a live show. Now, I'm going to give you another big artist, Drake. Drake wrote a song during the Kendrick Lamar beef featuring Tupac and Snoop Dogg. It was all AI generated. French Montana made a song called Ride the Wave, made all AI generated. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey did Love Song. They did an AI parody of that. And then there's a remix of Blinding Lights by The Weeknd that was AI generated. That's just a few I'm going to give you. They all use a platform called Sounddraw, where artists go to make music or to remix their music. But here you go. Now, I just told you, you got all these people swearing that they're going to shut down AI. AI is damning, and AI is taking real musicians' jobs. And pretty soon AI is going to wipe out everybody. I just gave you some big artists that's using AI right now. I heard that there's some producer, I think the producer of Soundgarden and some other band, he uses AI. Do you know that there is AI in the digital audio workstations like Logic Pro 10 that people build, that people can put in to use? Do you know there's producers all over the globe that you like, that they're producers using AI right now? They're using AI to enhance their voice or enhance the beats or even make a beat. So before the music industry and all of these artists are coming out talking about somehow AI, it should not be listened to, and shame on AI and Suno, and everybody should be shut down and all of this stuff, I just told you, you got some big musicians that's using AI right now. So if anybody is putting AI in the music business, it's the people themselves. But I also think that people only complain when they want to complain. So Zanaya Monet has gotten the biggest complaints. No one's complaining about all the other AI 50 plus artists that I found that's all over Spotify and Apple Music right now. I don't hear a lot of complaints, but it comes as Zanaya Monet, and there's number one complaint because she's actually sitting on a chart. Now, does she deserve to be there? Let's talk about that. She's a songwriter. She used AI to get her song out. More than 90% of the artists you listen to don't write their own music. They sing it, but they don't write their own music. How you think Usher came to have a career? Usher used to write songs for other people. Then one day he figured, hey, I might need good songs. I can do myself, make this money. So Usher became an artist. So what's the difference? You're winning awards based on a song that somebody wrote either for you or for another artist. Do you deserve to get that? Now they're going to say, yeah, because I sung it and I did all of that. Okay, but if the songwriter didn't write that song for you, would you be on that stage? Would you get that award? No, because the song wouldn't be for you. How many stories have you heard about songs that was written for some specific person, and then for some reason that person turned it down and it went to somewhere else and now it became world's biggest hit? I'll give you one of those songs. There's a song called I Swear that was done by John Michael Montgomery. John Michael Montgomery is a country music artist. And the song was written by a guy named Gary Baker and Frank J. Myers. So again, John Michael Montgomery did not even write this song. The song did go on to become a country hit. But guess what happened? In 1993, a black R&B group by the name of All For One came out and they covered the song. Now, remember I told you that they had to go to whoever John Michael Montgomery's record company was, or they had to go to Gary Baker and Frank Myers and say, hey, we want to cover this song. Whoever holds the rights to that, and then they paid a royalty for them to record it. But even though when John Michael Montgomery did the song, it became an American country hit, when All For One did the song, it became an R&B hit and became bigger than when John Michael Montgomery did it and it became a hit. Matter of fact, if you look up in Google and just type in Swear song, because if you just put I Swear, it comes up with some other jargon, but put I Swear song, the first people that come up is All For One. You actually have to either know John Michael Montgomery wrote the song, or you have to scroll down further and dig into, or you have to look up underneath people also searched for, because those who knew searched for John Michael Montgomery because they knew he was the original. Now, here's kind of the cool thing about that whole thing, though. Most artists wouldn't do this, especially if you top them. I'll give you one more before I tell you the story about what happened with I Swear and All For One. Dolly Parton released a song years ago called I Will Always Love You. Big hit, right? Dolly. Whitney Houston comes along, redoes the song, uses it even in the movie, becomes a bigger song than what Dolly ever had. But Dolly and John, though, they upstanding citizens. Dolly never really boffed about it. She congratulated Whitney Houston on her success, said that it was a beautiful song, and she was happy that she had did it. John Michael Montgomery, a couple of years ago on YouTube, sat down with All For One, and they re-recorded I Swear all together. Most beautiful moment. But I'll tell you these stories to show you that we've borrowed from artists all before, and that no artist writes their own music. So does Zanaya deserve to be on the chart? Or I should say Nikki, if these songs is hitting, she deserves to be there because she's fed the algorithm and told them what it needed to say, how it needed to feel, what it needed to do. Now, let me tell you what the controversy is. The controversy is also because they say that places like Suno is using unauthorized music. Oh my gosh. They're using copyrighted stuff to train the algorithms on what to say and to use. So they're saying that all of these voices, you take Beyonce, Usher, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Dolly Parton, anybody you can think of that's an artist, that when they scrape all this stuff, they're using their sounds, their textures, their voices, their music, anything that came with that. And this is how Zuno is training its base. And you have artists saying, well, they're taking from everything that the internet has. So that means they're also stealing from me. I'm a creator. I've been creating for more than 20 years. So that means when you hear a dude that's talking with a very deep voice, that they're also stealing content from me then, because you say that they're taking it from everywhere and they start mentioning things. They're taking it from newspapers and they're taking it from YouTube and they're taking it from Spotify and Apple Music and anywhere to get their hands on it. So that also means that they're stealing from me and from you if you're a creator. I have thousands upon thousands of hours of my voice just out here on YouTube, but nobody thinks about that. Now, I will give you this. I have written some AI models that I have seen demonstrated on YouTube that, yeah, I'm going to tell you they're probably trained directly on copyrighted works, because this guy was just putting in, sing this Christmas song in the tune of Frank Sinatra, and it sounded exactly like Frank Sinatra. But on Suno, what if I was to tell you, you can't even reference an artist. It won't even generate a song if you reference an artist. So I tested it out. I said, hey, I want a drum swell like In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins. When I went to generate that song, it said, bloop, can't do it. You mentioned Phil Collins. So in Suno, at least, you cannot directly put in a feeling for an artist. If you know what that feeling is, you can type it out. Okay, give me a heavy drum intro solo using nothing but toms for the first 4 measures. Boom. Now it should be able to do that, but I can't go in and say, I want this specific thing. They will not allow you to use artist names. If it's the money, which I think that's what it is, okay, I agree then. If you catch something that somebody did use in Suno or whatever, and it's copyrighted stuff, and let's say it sounded just like Beyonce, and you got Beyonce's beat, then yeah, Beyonce needs to be paid. But in a large amount of this music, that is not what I'm seeing. There is some communities that is just around AI. There's a couple places that you can go to that is nothing but AI music, and that's what their whole radio station there is. But I say all that to say, I don't think all AI is bad. And again, I just proved to you how hypocritical the music business is, because these same people that's complaining to you about how unethical it is, it's the same people that's using ChatGPT right now. They're getting them to write lyrics for them. They're getting them to read books for them, all of that. And there are some people you're listening to that uses ChatGPT to write all of their lyrics. There was some rapper that just came out and said, hey man, he tells ChatGPT to write all his lyrics. Now, I disagree with that. And I'm going to tell you how you get around some of those things if you truly write your stuff. But like I said, the record company is hypocritical. They feel like it's going to hit their bottom line right now. So because of all of that, they're balking. Let me tell you my use of AI and what I disagreed with and why I didn't use AI for my podcast for a very long time. Here's why. The one thing I disagree with, no matter who it is this. The AI artists, now people say we shouldn't call them artists, but the AI artists that sits down to ChatGPT and write this prompt out, or they go to Suno or whoever else they're going to use, and they say, make me a pop song about the last love I had in the rain, and they hit generate. I disagree with that, because there really is no human interaction behind that. They can't even copyright that. And we're going to talk about that at the end, because I did copyright my words. I'm going to tell you the project it was on, and I'm going to tell you how I was able to. I got a BMI account and the whole 9. Okay, so I'll tell you all that at the end of this. But that whole song now is AI generated. All you did was gave Suno or ChatGPT an instance. Okay, you just say, give me this love song about being in the rain. So it did all the lyrics. It did all the music. It did all the vocals. You had no inflection of that. I disagree with those works. That is dishonest, because you did just ask a computer, build me a song. Okay, I watched a whole dude that said, man, I got 20 albums. Let me show you how I did it. And he goes, I just go to ChatGPT. I come with a name. Let's say the name is Samson Young. And he types in Samson wrong. And he goes, give me a 10-song album about a man who was locked outside in the cold and became homeless. And I watched ChatGPT just within seconds. Here is, and they even gave him video concepts. This is the video concept you should use. This is how you should open the video. Here is the 10-song album. Here is the titles of all 10 songs. Here is what the premise of the 10 songs should be about. Would you like me to go ahead and make you a chart for Suno that it would read to create all these songs? I disagree with that, because now that is dishonest. he can't really, if he's being honest, he can't even make any money off of that as he's trying to, because under the rules, there has to be some type of human involvement. That is not human involvement because you didn't write anything or do anything that you were supposed to do. Now, I disagree with that, which is why I disagree with using AI in podcasts. Several years ago, remember people, I've been around podcasting scene now going on 10 years. It'd be 10 years, May of next year, that I've done this. When I started 9.5 years ago, all of this stuff you have now, Riverside, which I'm shooting on right now, the script, none of that stuff even existed. There wasn't even any platforms for podcasters to actually go to. You're using Logic Pro 10, which is not set up for podcasting. It's set up for musicians. Now we got DAWs, which is a digital audio workstation that is suited for nothing but podcasters. So all of this stuff wasn't available to us. Now, within the last couple of years, AI has become prominent. And there are some companies that is taking very wide advantage of it, and they charging of the yin-yang. Capshow is one of them. They charge $100 a month if you want to use their service. That's out there. Now, here's my problem with it. Because they were saying, hey, AI now is here. It can help you do your underwriting, which in podcast underwriting is your titles and your show notes and all that kind of stuff. Don't you want to save time? But when the first early models came out, it was just like that dude I just told you about, writing an artist. My podcast name is True Crime, Authors and Extraordinary People. Today's episode was about digital AI, what it's doing in the music space. I need you to write me show notes. I need you to give me 10 titles. Boom. That's all AI generates. Nothing I said is in there. There is no human interaction. Now, did it spit something out for me? Yep. Did I refuse to use it? Absolutely. Because I'm like, the thing doesn't even know what my show's about. I just told it what to give me, but it only knows a concept. It didn't hear what I said. If I had a guess, it didn't hear what the guest said. How was it able to formulate true show notes for me based on my episode? Then about a year and a half later, people like Whisper Transcribe start showing up. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that started coming up out the woodwork. And the thing that caught me was they said, you can use your own words. AI will just help you. Now we on to something. How do we do that though? Okay. I had to upload my episode. And when I uploaded my episode, AI went through my episode and it took the key parts out of that and it just wrote show notes based on what I said and my episode said. To test that theory, I had it write some show notes based off of an episode that I did, and I'm reading my transcript alongside what AI had written for my show notes. I'm like, I'm with that because this is what I would say. Maybe I wouldn't have formulated this way, but these are using my words. It's telling you about my guest. It's telling you what my guest was saying. It's telling you what I said. It actually took feature quotes. So it took certain different quotes that I said or that my guest said or whoever was on the podcast said that AI thought was relevant. It would hit hard. I find that ethical now because AI just helped me shape my show notes, but AI did not write my show notes. It was written based off of an episode that I had to upload to AI and just basically said, refine this. That is human interaction. Everybody's using it across the globe. If you knew how much time it took just to do one podcast episode, you would totally understand. It would take hours just to write the perfect show notes because all of that has to be good in the algorithm. So that moves me back over to the music side of things. That same thing I disagree with the music. If you're just sitting down writing a prompt and that's it, there is no human interaction. You shouldn't be on there. In the cases of Naya Monet, though, Gayle King, I don't know why she's even talking, because if you're going to get somebody to do these interviews, a lot of people, oh, go ahead, Queen Gayle, and Gayle, you the bomb. Okay, well, if you want to call somebody out for being fake or not getting where you need to get on your own, Gayle King need to be talking, because I understand she was an anchor and she was all of that long beforehand, but let's face the fact, people, the reason why Gayle King is where she is because she had a best friend named Oprah and she rode Oprah's coattails. So I disregard a lot of things that she says because as far as I'm concerned, she didn't exactly get where she is right now either on her own. But I digress. When it comes to Naya Monet, it was almost like she was trying to trick her. And I didn't like that. But would you show what's the process that you use when you make your songs? Now, let's just say that Nicki wanted to say no. Then the internet would have blew up this way. Oh, see, she doing something she shouldn't be doing because she said no. She wouldn't show Gayle what's going on. But then she says, sure, Gayle, I'll show you what I do. and still got criticized. So she sat Gayle down. She goes, here's my computer. Here's Suno AI. This is what I use. She says, I sit down and I look at what I've written and the poems that I've done and see which ones I want to make a song that day. Then she goes on to say, and after that, I just copy my lyrics and I paste my lyrics right in here. And then she goes down to the box and she types in, R&B, what the genre is, what the voices sound like, soulful voice. And so Gayle King, she was just telling somebody at school, oh, she's writing R&B and soulful voice. And I'm like, we can see what she's writing. Why are you trying to act like that this is some secret that she's saying? Now, with her process after that, she goes, I'll type in R&B, what the voices, I want a soulful voice. If she wants it to be slow or fast, she says, and then I hit generate. And she goes, it gives you 2 songs. And she sits there and she says, now we play one song. She goes, let me play the other song and you can totally see the difference. And she goes, this is what you do. And so Sanaya Monet says, I do this for hundreds of songs. Now, according to Sanaya Monet, she says she is putting in the work because artists saying, well, she ain't putting in no work behind this. She goes, I'm putting in the work because I'm doing this for 100 songs a day. Okay, that could be, a toss up. Did she do the work from writing? Yeah, she did, but she didn't do any work behind the artist that's singing it. And I have some problems with her process. And I'm going to tell you why when I tell you about my project that I did in closing. They kept ripping her apart. And Gayle King was all like, oh, you got her, Gayle, because she was like, I feel that Sanaya Monet is an extension of me. And Gayle King's like, well, she could be an extension of you, but you can't sing. Now, my question would have been, see, Gayle King don't want to interview me because I'd have been like, how do you know I can't sing? Nikki just gave up the ghost right away. Yeah, I can't sing. Even if I couldn't sing, I'd be like, how do you know I can't sing? Right? But I would have been like, but you accuse people of not being able to sing that you don't know about. Just like this guy I'm telling about who watch on YouTube. He says everybody can't sing. They can't play an instrument, so they use AI. What if I told you that there's a guy that uses AI right now to get his songs out because his wife died? When his wife died, he was a prominent musician. He could sing in the whole 9. After his wife died, something happened to him and he lost his voice. He said when AI came along, he was able to share his songs again in voice since he can no longer sing them. What if I tell you on your iPhone, there is a mode in settings that will allow you to record your voice in AI. The more hours you give it, the better. And if anything ever happens to your voice, your phone will be able to talk for you. So if you need to have a voice print to get into your bank account, if you need to talk to somebody on the telephone, AI is built into your phone to do that. Nobody looks at these things though. So in closing, let me tell you what I have a problem with when it comes to Sanaya Monet's workflow. I'm also going to tell you this right here, right now. There's things I don't agree with AI, which I'm about to tell you what it is right now when I tell you about my production flow. Also, AI is very dangerous and can be if you allow it to be so. There is things going on in China right now I don't have time to talk about. There's people making AI so it feels like a human. There's people that's making live dolls that react like humans, supposedly has feelings. I get all of that. But in the realm that we're talking about in the music world right now, music is about a connection. It isn't really about who's singing it. It's not really about where the voice came from. It's about a connection to a song. And the reason why Sanaya Monet has 1.3+ million listeners a month is because I've listened to her album and it connects. Whether it's an AI voice or not, I can feel everything that's being said in the songs that she's releasing. And if nobody would have ever told me, I would have never known that she was an AI voice, just like all these people that's criticizing her and the Velvet Sundown and everyone else there's an artist. Unless you was told, you wouldn't believe it either. Matter of fact, somebody on the video that I was watching said, oh, I listened to Sanaya Monet and I loved her until I found out she was AI. But wait, you loved Sanaya Monet before you found that out though, right? There was something about her music that connected with you. You felt it. Because some people was like, oh man, I was feeling it and I could feel everything that she was saying until I found out she was AI. If you connected with it, what did it matter? Now, I won't say she's not because she is. She's making millions of dollars. She got signed to a $3 million contract. It takes 567,000 listens a month to even generate $4,000. You only get paid, 0.3 cents from Spotify for a stream. So no one's really getting rich, but something connected. Now, if you go look at her profile on iTunes where you can buy her album, people's giving her 1 stars, talking about some AI is trash and the album need to be removed. But before then, these same people was giving Sanaya Monet 5 stars, saying what a excellent song it was, saying the album was off the charts, because music is about a connection. My project, I have a project that's out right now, at least part of it, and it's partially AI. Here's why I say partially. Every lyric that you get was written by me. My transcript was severely uploaded, and I tweaked all the lyrics to an album that is called The Witch Hunt of Lanny Hughes. Now, if you know anything about me and listen to my podcast, you know I had another podcast called We're Not Afraid. I just closed that out because we're done with the whole thing that was going on over there. I was defending my friend LaDonna Humphrey, and a lot of things transpired in the year. So one day after listening to all this, I was sitting back and I'm like, I want an original way to respond to this. Something that's just fun. Maybe just something for me and LaDonna to sit back on and say, hey, this was the time we got through this. And this is something that I wanted to do just because it would be fun. So I sat back and I'm like, what if I wrote an album? What if I wrote some songs? I do know people in the music industry. I have an uncle that's been in the industry for more than 30 years. I didn't call him, but I called some other people and say, hey, what would be the quickest ethical way just to make a fun little album right now in the modern day? I said, I know how we used to do it back in the day. You know, I have to go find some singers, or I'm going to sing whatever. I'm a drummer, got to find some other musicians, go into a studio, lay the tracks down, cost thousands of dollars to do. Dude's like, haven't you heard of AI? And I'm like, yeah, I heard of AI, but I'm not quite with it. Because the fact that, for one, it's not very popular right now. And for two, you're just telling a computer what to generate. And my friend's like, no, you ain't. He says, you are a musician. You know music composition. You know how to write music. You know what to tell it to do. He says, the only reason why people is hating on it is because there's people that's making these songs and they don't know anything they're doing. He goes, but you can curb everything you want, from the genre down to the feel, if you write the prompts right. So I'm like, I said, I'll look into this. So I did the Witch Hunt Lanny Hughes, did a full little project and started one night. And I have all the prompts that I have. Here was the problem I had was a Naya Monet that I did not do. If you listen to what I said about how Nikki says she does her thing, she just drops her lyrics in, and then she proceeds to tell ChatGPT, R&B, female should be the singer, slow or fast. That's it. Even though there's human interaction, because she did write the lyrics, there's not much human interaction in that prompt. If you see my prompt, first of all, I wrote the titles to all my songs. Okay, none of my songs were AI generated when it comes to a title. None of my songs was AI generated when it comes to a lyric. Everything else is. Now, what I wanted to do, because the other thing that the music industry is not telling you too, is this. Since we recorded this song, we're the owner of the song. Now, here is the drawback if you own the song or not. If you're writing with Suno says in their terms of service that you own the song if you are a part of one of their paid plans. I think it costs for like $10 a month. If you are on the free plan, then you don't own the song. The rights of the song that you write belongs directly to Suno. You cannot download it. And if you do, you can only use it for personal situations. You cannot upload it for commercial gain. If you pay in their paid plan, you own the rights to any song that you have written as long as you were a member of Suno. So that means if I decide to leave Suno tomorrow, all the songs in my album that I've already written still belong to me because I was a member of Suno at the time that I wrote this song. But if you see my prompt is very, very detailed. Here's a song called This. Need to be narrative mode. This is the story of, and I give all the particulars, right? So this is the story of how this all began when Lanny first got the phone call from Jerry. This is what happened. This is your whole narrative. And then at the end of that, I said, use the text below for the lyrics. So what I just did is I took all of the work away from ChatGPT and I just asked it in so many words, here's my concept. I just want you to help me hone it, which is what a lot of your artists is doing right now. There's an artist right now that says, I take all my lyrics and dump them into ChatGPT and say, help me refine these lyrics. Now, it doesn't really change the lyrics. It may add a couple words here or there, but it's refining his lyrics. Same thing, but everything that's there was human generated because you wouldn't have the lyrics. It wasn't for me. I'm also going to tell it where is the speaking parts. Use this at the top of the song, verbatim. I'll write that part out. So like there is a song on my album called The Tale of Two Podcasters. And here's how you can, if you ever listen to my album and if you ever question if I wrote the lyrics, send me an email and I will point you to the episode that that particular song came from, along with the transcript, so you can see for a fact that it's mine. But to tell the two podcasts, you have no reason to think it's not mine because of how it starts out. It starts out with me actually as my character in this album, because I've changed all the names of people, introducing an episode of the podcast. That particular song indeed did come from that particular episode, and We Are Not Afraid. So and then I'm guiding it with the music. Here's how fast it should be. And I'm getting it to a BPMs. Here's how, 140 BPMs or whatever. Here's how fast it should be. Here's the key the song needs to be in. Here's the artist that I needed to have. If it's going to be a duet, man and woman, if it's going to be just a woman. Here's the feel. Here's what I want in the chorus. Here's the swells up and down. Here's how the ending should be. You see what I'm doing? All of this is now human generated. I'm just asking ChatGPT or Suno to help me refine my idea. People say, well, how come it's a country? First of all, people, if you don't know anything about genres of music, I don't care who you are. You have to admit that country is one of the best genres of music in the world for storytelling. And it always has been that way. We've had, I think, maybe one, maybe two, but I know one. I ain't supposed to say his name no more, but we had one successful hip hopper that never even got finished, and that was Trapped in the Closet. But all your other storyteller songs has always been kind of in that country type genre and feel. So then they want you to generate a photo of an artist. Now on my profile right now, it has the album cover as the artist's photo. But people say, well, why would you generate someone that's going to be like a white female? Well, the white female that is singing these songs is supposed to be based on somebody. So since that person isn't black or Mexican or Asian, no other option but for it to be white. So this is based off of somebody in real life that is supposed to be singing these songs if they could sing these songs. How did you figure out who that's supposed to be if you're questioning? But this is the difference I say between myself, Naya Monet, and the Velvet Sundown. Now, the Velvet Sundown, they just came out and told you directly, hey, we are AI. They said this is a project, it's AI generated. Everything you hear is AI. So there was no question. And they still get 230,000 listeners or 222,000 listeners a month. And you go to my profile, that is on my Spotify profile that you can read if you go to Spotify. I also directly tell you flat out that Sable Heart, which is the name of the female character, because you have to give them a character name and all that kind of stuff when you go to distribute these things. And they tell you, hey, you can be anybody you want to be. So yeah, we give them a name. But my profile, I'm going to read you what my profile says. Sable Heart is synthetic music artist driven by human creative direction, and his voice is visualized with the help of AI. All characters, stories, music, voices, and lyrics are original creations with assistance by artificial intelligence tools used as a creative instrument. Everything you hear, from the concept to how the music is shaped to the tone of each song, even down to the way Sable sounds, is 100% human. Any resemblance to actual places, events, or persons living or deceased is purely coincidental and unintentional. I'm telling you exactly what it is. Now, the same guy I'm telling you about I listen to, he goes, I feel it's funny that these AI artists are always got to say what part is 100% human. Well, that's because we have to do that because that's the part you honing in on, ain't it? Otherwise, you're trying to say that all of this stuff is created by AI. Now, if I got an award for one of my songs, do I feel like I should get the award? Yeah. Let me tell you why. Because I told AI what to do. I didn't just say write a pop song. No, from the feel of my album, and you can hear it consistently all the way through the lyrics. Very personal album because the stuff in here is real life. That's why it's called The Witch on Lanny Hughes, based on a true story. The introduction kind of explains to you that going in. Now, if you don't want me to get singer's credit, cool. But here is my plan for that. I have all the stems. I planned on, before I even released it, I was going to take the stems. I was going to go find me a couple of artists, maybe my daughter, because she can sing. And I was going to say, hey, can y'all sing these songs? Here's why I went with the AI voice, though. I was able to shape Sable and Dustin is the man in here, to sound the way I wanted them to sound, to have the feeling I wanted them to have and display to the audience with each lyric. I couldn't do that with the human. Now, I probably could have went and said, I need you to put more grit but you're not going to get what you want. Also, I want to point this out since people's like, working with humans should be easy, and we don't know why you ain't working with humans and all this kind of stuff. One guy says, I understand that working with humans is hard. The answer to that is, yeah, it's hard, but that's not why you want to work with them. It costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. Let me just tell you what you have to do if you want to drop an album like this. I would have had to get a hold of a producer other than me. I'd have to get a hold of a producer that has a studio. I have to find out what his hourly ratings or if he has a one lump sum. Let's just say, because I'm telling you, the money is made in the production and editing of any work, any podcast, right? You can get charged by the hour, one lump sum. So let's just say, man, bro, I know you. I'm going to charge you $5,000 for the whole project. All right, so now I got the studio and the producer. That's $5,000. Now I need 2 singers that can sing country. Don't really care who you is, but you got to be able to sing country and be able to hit the notes in which I have written these songs in. Now I got to find a female and a male. I got to pay them. Now, depending on how high they are up on their caliber, meaning if they're just a nobody who's just trying to get known, I may get away with them. Okay, look, I'll give you $50, $100 an hour. Or if you just come singing this project, I'll give you $500 for the whole project. If you're just trying to get your name out there, they're going to say, okay, cool, we'll go for that. But if I get somebody that's been a backup singer before, they've been in the studio, they know what they doing, that puts the price up higher. They may come in and be like, look, man, look, we're going to go $500-$600 an hour, or I'll do the whole project for, $10K. Let's say I get 2 of those. Now, let's just go with the highest point. Let's say I get 2 of those and they say the same thing, and I really want this to be a top-notch caliber project. That's $20,000 now that I got in singers. This is not far-fetched. It all depends. It can go from $100 up. All right, so I feel okay, I can do that. And now, if I go extra hours, now under that $5,000, dude ain't just going to be here all day. He going to be like, okay, look, it's going to be $5,000 and you got 8 hours to do this. So that means I got to start and stop the project in 8 hours. I have to have everything right. Everything has to be done, recorded, finished. That's just the recording process. We ain't talked about now he has to go in and edit and master this. Now, some studios will throw all that into one price. Maybe this guy's different. If you want me to edit and master your project now, that may cost you another $2,500 because the money is in that. Now, he's got to go through each track. He's got to make sure they're pitch accurate. He's got to make sure it sounds good. He's got to make sure there ain't no notes. He needs to punch in, punch out, all this kind of thing. Now, on top of that, though, do I really get out of here in 8 hours? If you're a perfectionist like I am in the studio, I may be 10, 12 hours. I have spent time in studios before where I'm the drummer in a band I'm playing with, that I've been in the studio from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because I wasn't leaving till it's done. All of that is money that the production company that I was with or whoever was over the band, they was paying this guy. So if they're like, hey, my drummer David's going to come in, he's only going to be here for 4 hours and I'm here over 12 hours, that's extra money. There's also cutting this dude out of time because let's just say that he thought out, which no producers should ever do this, right? If you're really working with the band with an album, I believe that you should set all that time aside just for that band because you know what's going to happen. But there are some cats that's trying to double dip. So they're like, cool, David the drummer's going to be in here 4 hours. He should be out by 10. I'm going to book Drayton over here to come in and get his project on the way from 10:15 on. Well, David's still sitting in the studio at 10:15. So now he's got to tell Drayton, hey, man, I'm running a little long on the session. Don't know I'm going to get to you today. Sorry. Now, that costs him money because let's just say Drayton was coming in at $500 an hour. That just cost $500 an hour. So now my production has got to come in and say, well, since David's still sitting here, you need to pony up some more money. This is how production works. So it's not that easy. Even if you write a song and you can go and say, hey, this is what I want to hear. It's not as easy as going to get a human just to come up and do it. Everybody wants money. I understand that. You got to be paid for your craft. Got it. But there is very famous, who I won't name, musicians right now that has made statements that said this easier to write with AI because they don't have to worry about time constraints. They don't have to worry about people's personal schedules. They don't have to worry about if you going to show up. All they got to do is write these lyrics and drop it in. They got a voice ready to sing it. And this is from people in the industry right now that has been in the industry for 20, 30 years, that is making tons of money. And this is what they're doing. Last thing I'll say, yes, what Timberland is doing is trash. And the reason I say that is because his new AI artist Tata, he decided he wanted to open up a wing of his record label for AI artists. Okay, get it, because everybody's doing it. But he's the first one who wants to come out with an AI artist exclusively for his record label. The reason why I say it's trash is because he recently stole a beat from this independent cat and uploaded it to Suno AI and is using it for Tata. When Timberland was caught, because I saw a whole YouTube video about it, the dude was proving to you that it was his beat. They show him mixing the beat live. And he was just like, look, man, I've been a Timberland fan my whole life. Man, all he had to do was reach out and say, bruh, I really love this beat. I want to use it. He goes, maybe I would have even let him use it for free just for the recognition. Just say, beat brought to you by whoever, give me the credit. But you just outright and stole it. When they cornered Timberland on it, he tried to blame it on Ghostface Killah. Oh, well, Ghostface Killah wanted the beat, so he the one that took it. No, you the one that uploaded it. And when he didn't feel sorry about it. And he's not relinquishing it. But now the music companies is yelling at AI artists, but now you got an artist who's filthy rich, who's made it, who's stealing other people's beats and uploading it to Suno. The same thing the music industry is trying to say is happening with AI right now, that they're using people's copyrighted works that does not belong to them. What did Timberland just do? The same thing. So guys, thank you for listening to this one. I'm going to say this. If you want to check out my album, the album comes out on the 16th. It is the 11th. I'm recording this. The single, How It All Began, is already out. It came on the 9th. I will leave you the links for both of them in the description of the show notes here if you want to check out that project. However, I'm going to say this. I'm unapologetic about it. I created everything there is around there except for, yes, the voice and the instruments is AI generated. It has been distributed to all of the major streaming services, and I do have accounts that does pay me royalties on streamers because I did actually write the actual way the AI did it in accordance with all of these entities, including BMI, because there's human interaction. It is a copyrightable work, so I have copyrighted it. However, check that out. And I don't know if I'm gonna do another AI thing. I do have a project in the works where I'll actually be singing on there, but we'll see, because that's fun for me. I was fun. I was able to shape that voice. Sable came out sounding like I wanted her to sing. You got the grit that I wanted you to get. You got the feeling that I want you to get behind each song. So it's going to be interesting to see where AI goes. But remember, I'm going to repeat it again. The record industry is hypocritical because some of the biggest names I just gave you is using AI right now, and your ears just don't know it. You just trust it because it's blinding lights. It's the Weeknd, but you don't know, even though he's singing it, he got a lot of AI elements up into there. Just keep that in mind. All right, once again, people, thank you for this fun one. I'll have a author for you next week. So I thank you guys for tuning in and listening to this episode. Let me know what you do think about AI in music. Do you think it has a place? What do you think? Do you think it's really going to take over the humans? Let me know what you think. All right, once again, thank you for joining us today. I know you have many choices in true crime and interview podcasts. I am grateful that I am one of your choices, and you have been listening to the only three-faceted podcast of its kind. Be good to yourself and each other, and always remember, always stay humbled. An act of kindness can make someone's day. A little love and compassion can go a long way. And remember that there is an extraordinary person in all of us. I'll catch you guys on the next one.
Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Join us on social media. One link to the link tree has it all. Feel free to drop us a line at truecrimeandauthors@gmail.com. Cover art and logo designed by Arslan. Sound mixing and editing by David McClam. Intro script by Sophie Wild and David McClam. Theme music, Legendary, by New Alchemist. Introduction and ending credits by Jackie Voice. See you next time on True Crime, Authors, and Extraordinary People.